Oh, okay. Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. Let me see. Things. Hello, mustache. Which program is going to be best? Aha. Yes. Okay. Making sure things work real quick. How have you been today? Good. I have some citrus tea today. It's too hot though. Okay. I'm pretty much just waiting for a few extra people to show up before I start talking about my game. Cool. If you notice, I have the terrain bits for the basing right here. So I figured I'd start trying to paint some of this up. If the edges are white, they're gonna get covered with mud anyway. So I figured dry brushing everything first would be a great use of time. We got some cobble. And yeah, because if I'm trying to dry brush this size thing, it's gonna be hard. Whereas if I dry brush this whole thing and then break it up, that should make it a little bit easier. So, oh, and those walls that we made, well, that I made, they actually came out pretty good. There's just a tiny bit of flex, not something I want to mess around with, but probably bounce instead of break. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, we made quite a bit. So should be plenty for the whole 2 sets of armies, but and I'm hoping that this will be flat enough to base on, because I mean none of this is going to be huge sections. So, and yeah, these sandbags just, they don't look good. I'm not that worried about it. I actually used them to prop up the walls so that they stayed somewhat straight. they started wanting to fall over while they were drying, so they were used, they just weren't for the battlefield. You can kind of see right here, it tried to fall out, and this tried to fall in. But yeah, they should work pretty good. I don't have a banana, but Space Marine for scale. They're just walls. They're not super tall. They're probably like, realistically, 3 foot tall. But, you know. Oh yeah, and it has a magnet, so it's like, oh yeah. Okay. So, for the flagstones, my plan was to use a mix of Tuscan Red and Flamenco Red to make a what color from, come on, too much light bounce. But I figured this as the primary for the flagstones would be good. And then I don't remember exactly how I made the cobblestone, but I have all of the other colors, and I think I dry brushed up pretty high, and there's not a whole lot of burnt umber left in here, so I might add water and make a wash to get into the crevices around everything. Because if I look in here, other than this dried up bit, I think the paint's down to like here. So that should work pretty good as a wash. I might pull out the nasty first. But I figured that would be good. Yeah. That's what I have for today. I figured if I could get this all painted up, dry brushed, made to look decent, it would be a good start to basing everything, because 74 models is going to take a while, and if I have to break them up into little pieces and glue them down and put mud around them, all that stuff, that's going to take a while. So, figured let's get a start on it. And I also have a desktop share. So I did manage to get some pictures. So I might actually do a little bit of the dry brushing first, and then go over that. Just first, I need to figure out where I'm going to start with this. So let's do the darker Tuscan Red on the flag. That sounds good. And we're going to bust out the total face brush, because it's big area, so the total face brush. Alright, and a dry palette. not quite set up for this yet. Takes up a lot of space, so... There's a little bit on here. A little bit on here. Just barely any on here. Oh yeah. That little bit. Alright. If I had kept everything to each, just one type on each of these, that would have probably made a better time here. But, oh well. But yeah, looking at this, I can see that I did go from a really dark wash all the way up to the brightest khaki color. So, that'll be good to match that. So, oh yeah, nice dry brush. Alright, let's start with this one. That looks pretty cool. I need to do more. But I'm actually going to go put some of the parchment paper underneath this so I don't get it all over the desk. Alright. So I'm getting a little bit of red on here. I don't know exactly how dark the washes are going to make it, but I can do 2 or 3 layers if I need to. That was a little bit too heavy. I added a drop of water to it, so I'm not surprised. Oh yeah. I might be overbrushing more than dry brushing with this color, but I don't think that's a problem for the first coat. I did get a little bit too heavy right there. Oh well. I am hoping that the brown wash takes care of that extremely bright uh, bit on there. I almost wonder if I should do that second. Oh yeah, this is a little bit on the messy side. Okay. Okay, that's some red. So I'm gonna take the multi-use face and a second one and use the territorial beige as the undercoat for the cobble. That way I don't have to swap between brushes and clean them out. I'm just gonna do the dry brushes based on color. And if there's a little bit of blending, that's okay. Okay. I honestly expected more people to want to hear about the game. It was my first game of Sigmar ever. I don't know, but we will get over it. I just thought more people would want to hear. Oh. Cobble came out pretty cool. Hey, Vermin. Welcome. All I'm doing is some initial dry brushes on the basing before I open them, break them all to pieces. I figured this would be easier to dry brush and paint consistently before putting on model bases. So I did the first red, and I'm working on the territorial beige, and I do have the game. I have several pictures for it. I was just waiting for a few people to show up, Mustache is here. You are here. So once I get the territorial beige down, I will show pictures. But it was definitely fun. It's like, no, I hated it. It was the first time playing. I'm gonna get rid of all of my armies. Yes. However funny and hilarious that would be, I'm not gonna do that. No, it was wild to have a 2,000 point painted army for my first ever game. That was cool. They weren't all based. I don't have all the bases done. So I have a fidget thing. When I'm dry brush / overbrushing, I use the tops of the lid. And I dip into the paint and then go into the secondary and then the third to kind of dry it off a little bit. If I need to, I can always start another one. But I'm doing a base coat, so I'm okay with a little bit of a more of a overbrush. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about the poor rolls. Sorry, I was laughing because I have poor rolls as well. But did you have fun, Vermin? Hey, having fun's the important part. So, as I'm finishing this color, I can start talking about the game. So it was 2,000 points, and I was playing Skaven, and my opponent was Blades of Corn, so that was a good first game ever, right? Bunch of little rats versus demons that wanted to get into combat. And I might not have done everything right, but we did our best. He had only played 2 or 3 games before, so, you know. Ted dice rolls. So we got all the things set up. We played the second grouping first battle game, which I think is originally from like 2017. or something like that. It was okay. It has like actual table quarters, and it's weird that you set up you have deployment zone. Well, you have a zone that is yours, territory, whatever, but then you have a deployment zone that's outside of 9 of enemies, so it actually is a further back area than it says, so it's interesting. And I wasn't exactly sure if I'm supposed to set up all of my Nahul's turn 1. So, or, you know, pre-game. So that was a question we had. We played it without. I don't know if that's supposed to be the way, but that's how we did it. So my first drop, I'm gonna just dry brush the walls while I'm at it, but that was drop 1 of my army. It was the Grey Seer and a reinforced Warplock Jezzails, a Rattling Warp Blaster, and a reinforced Clan Rat unit. And then we allowed some Legends units in there, so I have a unit of Gutter Runners as well, who were in the tunnels below. And then my second drop, if it'll let me know. There we go. My second drop had a reinforced Clan Rats unit, a unit of 20 Plague Monks, a unit of 5 Legends Censer Bearers, and the Plague Priest on Plague Furnace as the hero. So that was my 2,000 points. And that was what I was going up against. So, Blood Crushers, Blood Thirster, Scarbrand, and 3 units of Bloodletters. Yeah, they really wanted to be in combat. So they had their day. They managed to get into combat. So that is how they... Oh, and he had first deploy. Oh, and a skull cannon. I forgot the skull cannon. It's right there. Right there. So that was pretty cool. Oh, and we used my terrain as well as some of the shop stuff. And if you notice, every single model of my army were painted. Yay! So I set up right on the line because they're Skaven and they figured they wanted to die this game. So I figured we'd let the demons feast upon the rat until they couldn't handle it anymore. And that's how we were going to win. By throwing more bodies at them. So. That's a little bit closer. You can see I have the Plague Censer Bearers right here, and my Grey Seer next to the Plague Priest. And I made 2 rows of clan rats right on my deployment possibility, and then put the Jezzails right behind it. The Rattling Cannon actually didn't have range to their deployment zone because of that, but the Jezzails did. So I figured they were going to move forward, I'd be able to shoot, you know, corn and all. And they were in the tunnels. So, my Grey Seer has a thing where the first spell each turn, they can use 3d6 instead of 2d6. And if it's a 13, it succeeds on a 13. Otherwise, you choose the 2 that you would like to use. My first dice roll of Skaven was to see if I could do the skitter leap. And I got it on a 13. So, my Grey Seer leapt forward and onto... Wow, that picture doesn't seem to be in order. Did that? Hold on a second. Okay, that was 138. That one's at 201. Okay. So, my Grey Seer jumped forward. Oh yeah, that's why. And took the objective to the left of my in center. And I scored 2 points for that. And 2 points for having the gutter runners within 6 inches of the terrain, or 3 inches of the terrain, because I put down the gnaw hole. And that was it. I didn't have a battle, I didn't have any charges or combats or anything. So on his turn 1, he moved up and charged, and that's the combats that we got into. And Scarbrand tried multiple times to take the clan rats and the Grey Seer out. Well, he fought for his turn. And then my gutter runners did their once per game add 3 to the attack characteristic. Dealt a couple of damage to the Bloodthirster. And then were massacred. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, and then they were massacred. So. But the Grey Seer only took 2 wounds, and I lost a whole bunch of clan rats. Which is fine, because that's why he has the 4-up ward to stay alive. Because the Grey Seer needs to stay alive, right? So that was the end of turn 1, and he managed to score 3 points? Yeah, 3 points on his turn 1. And I had scored 9 because I managed to take his territory, his piece of terrain. So long as the gnaw holes worked the way that we played them. So that was good. That was 9-3 at the top, at the bottom of 1. And then for turn 2, I tried to do the models on the short edge option. And the first thing I did was I attempted to teleport or skitter jump the Grey Seer, because it doesn't say that you can't use it in combat. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but I tried and failed. Well, I succeeded in the roll, but then he used 2 blood tithe points to counter the spell. So I wasn't going to get a person in the back line through that. But I only had 1 Gnawhole, so I backed up my Plague Furnace, so I was outside, not wholly within my deployment zone, and dropped a Gnawhole. And because there was another Gnawhole, I transported the sensor bearers to the back because they were within range. So I would then score the 2 long edge or the 2 short edge mission thing. So far, okay. I couldn't do the teleport, so I did a different way. Hopefully that was right. And then we kept on fighting. And the Blood Crushers and Scarbrand still couldn't kill the Grey Seer. And the Denim Clan rats took the Skull Cannon down to 3 wounds left. We decided we would count down on all the wounds instead of up. But anyway, they took him down to 3. And after the next battle, after that combat phase, the Blood Cannon was gone. Or, the Skull Cannon was gone. The Blood Crusher was on 1 wound. And he had killed one of my Gnawholes. So, so far, not horrible. It was a back and forth so far. Things were dead. Things were dying. And let's see. I'm moving on to, let's see. I'm moving into the next red dry brush. But anyway, so he was on 1, and he scored 3 more points, and what was he trying to do, that mission? Oh, he tried to fight and not lose a model of his. And he started here and moved his Blood Crusher to get into combat with my Jezzails, and I shot him. And so I actually killed his Blood Crusher as he was moving in for a charge. And I succeeded in having him fail his secondary, right? Secondary. So that was hilarious. They had to take 1 wound off of Blood Crusher, and they managed it. Even though they were hitting on 5s. So, if you notice, these clan rats are missing from action. So he did manage to kill the Grayseer, which sadly was my my general, and I wasn't thinking about it at the time. Or my, wizard. So I then didn't have any wizard spells anymore. And I had so far rolled a 2 and a 1 for my priest powers, so I was at 3 total. And everything costs 4 or 5. So that's great. But I was holding my own. Oh, and my sensor bearers were gone. They were destroyed. Pretty easy. But they did their job, taking that point. So that was what it was looking like. The Blood Crusher, of course, is dead in that corner. And the Skull Cannon. I was just, he was piling his dead pile over there because no one was using it. Let's see. And then he charged Scarbrand into the Jezzails and wiped them. So I then... Oh, I failed in trying to take his, Oh yeah. I tried to do the, kill 2 units in a turn, and failed. I only killed 1, even though I charged the, Plague Priest at him. But I did drop in another Gnawhole and a returned unit of clan rats, half strength, so that I could take his objective. And that scored me 5 points for that, and 1 point for my own. I think, no. 5 points for that. 9, 10. Yeah, I scored 10 in the... I think. Anyway. I am trying to remember. But I took his point and scored those 5 points. But I was able to kill his last Blood Crusher. But I got Scarbrand down to 2. So I did not kill Scarbrand. And if I had thought about it, I would have attempted to do the, kill the, models in the general's entourage. But I had tried to do kill 2 instead, and failed. But that was the, oh, and he had gotten a double turn between 2 and 3. So he was down quite a few points. But I was down to 1 original model on the field. From the 119 rats that I brought, I had 1 left. And it was in combat with Scarbrand. And then he was able to summon a new... Oh yeah, he didn't kill the Rattling Gun. But I did a ton of damage, and he failed 2 saves out of 8. And I managed to kill him with these Jezzails that I dropped in. Anyway. So, on the end of... So I did take the Entourage one that turn, and I ended up winning 31 to like low 20s. Because I backed up those clan rats. Because I can fall back without dying. So they were within 3 inches of the objective. And I had 7 objective to his 5. So, yeah, I ended up winning 31 to in the 20s. And first game, it was a lot of back and forth in the book, or the PDF, trying to see what each unit could actually do. But I pulled out the win. I think I lost 143 rats out of the 119 I brought. So, but yeah, I lost 143 rats out of 119. Yes, yes. So, again, I might have made a few mistakes. He might have made some mistakes, but everything was talked through and we did it how we felt was right. And it was a bloody battle, and that was the outcome. So, yay. So now if I never play my Skaven again, they'll have a 100% win streak. Like I'd ever not play them again. I have a game lined up for next Saturday. I don't know, but I think it might be Seraphon that my opponent will be playing. But yeah, that was a very fun game, and first time ever. So what do you think? Was it a good game? Those secondaries are really hard to score if you don't have things planned out ahead of time. Like, I had not even looked at what was available before the game. So yeah, that's the battle report. I hope that made sense. I know, wasn't it? Like, just as far as a first time ever, I had a lot of fun. It was back and forth. No guaranteed on who was going to win or anything. It was great. And like I said, I lost 143 rats out of the 119 I brought. I was using 2 to 3. I was using 2 to 3 of the command points every turn. Twice was to fire in the opponent's movement phase, or shooting phase, sorry. because otherwise the Giselles would not have been able to fire. But it was really fun. The only thing is that Plague Priest on Plague Furnace is 340 points and doesn't feel like it's actually worth it. Now, it could just be how I played it, what I had with it, but it didn't do anywhere near as much as I was expecting of something in that point value. Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have charged them out right in the front if I thought that was gonna lose me some points. Oh, my plague monks charged Scarbrand. I fought somewhere else first, and then Scarbrand swung and killed all 20 of them before they did anything. And then they get to explode on a 6, and he saved all but one of that. So, 140 points of Plague Monks dealt 1 damage to Scarbrand. So, that was kind of sad. So, but yeah, as far as first game goes, I love that it was so back and forth, and like I definitely played to the mission. I tried so hard to find one that would work each turn, and I did manage 3 of the 4. So, but I need to think about other alternatives to score every turn, because they are hard to do if you're not planning ahead. Which I guess, you should if you're planning on scoring them. But, like, you can't get, you can't get in the opponent's table edge on turn 1 if you're playing long form, unless you can teleport. So, I actually think the Greyseer was way better off, point-wise, than the Plague Furnace. But, for a first-time play, that's what it is. One thing I was thinking about was the next time I play, I should probably bring some of the I want to see what the Rat Ogres will do. I mean, it's called Skitter Jump. How amazing is that? Oh man, yeah, that just came out of this. Eesh. Okay. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I look forward to so many more battles. This does not seal all the way. I am dripping it all over. Okay. Yeah. So, that was the first time ever. just making a burnt umber wash. Yeah, it was really good. Okay. Give this a good shake. How watered down is it? That's not quite wash consistency. I'm gonna try it out just to see. Yeah, that's too thick. My desk is going to be a mess today. So what do you think? A burnt umber wash? I hope that's coming through on the video pretty good. This wash is very nice, going right into the recesses. I might have to do a second one of these, but oh yeah, it even looks good over the cobble. That's amazing. Yeah. That one's not on the camera. Like, I'm just slathering it on and it's going directly where I want it to be. I don't know how long it'll take to dry, but I might need to find a slightly brighter red for a highlight. Okay. I mean, I'm currently just putting this wash over the models, the bases, so... I don't know if the desk is big enough for this. uh... But yeah, as far as a first game goes, I think that was amazing. I hope everything was right. But it was fun. Just having rats to throw at the blades, to eat at all of it. Oh, and one time did I get to overcharge my Scryer models. Because turn 1 I forgot, and turn 3 they were in combat. And turn 4 they hadn't been reinforced or brought back yet. So maybe if I brought more Scryer units with the Scryer detachment. But kind of want to try a Molder list now. So, one thing is I want to make another list. Try out a few other models. The Plague Priest didn't really work, but, I mean, I pulled it back out of effective range to do stuff to score 4 points. So, I mean, it scored me an eighth of my points by being in existence, and it helped me kill Scarbrand. But overall, I don't know if it's really worth 340 points. And the Plague Monks just died. Like, 1 mortal wound for 140 points. So, I don't know about that. But I do want to try the Rat Ogres. stretching to the far side of the desk. Yeah. Something a little closer. And out of focus, out of the screen. Ah. Welcome back. So now, since I have next week's game planned, I should probably figure out a new list. I still have the Rat Ogres to try out. I could bring the Claw Lord on Gnaw Beasts. I could probably talk him into letting me proxy the Plague Priest for Greyseer on Screaming Bell. But I think, yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, Scarbrand. I actually took out Scarbrand in my first game. Like, that's a pretty hefty goal. And I managed it, so... Okay. Not done with the wash yet, but I need to... Yeah. Yeah, you and your 9 layers of sand, huh? I know this is, like, so exciting to see, but I said I was gonna do this whole thing on stream, so here I am, slathering a wash on rolled texture stuff, right? But it is looking really good, so... I hope it breaks up and looks good on the bases once it's together. Because remember, this is all going up against the brown mud texture paste, and then getting a couple of tufts. So Not every rat is probably going to get a tuft, but I'll make sure a few of them get 2 to average it out. All of the Stormcast will be big enough bases to have space for it, but some of the clan rats are taking up the majority of their bases, so I'm not going to force a tuft. .25mm bases with a modern rat isn't, you know, super easy to do, so. I'm getting it on my hand. Yay. Okay. Again, I don't know how long this is going to take to dry either, so. Yeah, they can definitely have a few extras. But yeah, I would like it if the next game I do doesn't have any Legends units in it. It was fun with having them in this one, but honestly, I don't think they're very good. Like, the Gutter Runners are, but I don't think the Sensor Bearers are actually very good at all, so. Yeah. But the old 20mm elves were meant to be on, or they were meant to be on 20mm, right? Like, they have the designs for it, so you have space for the tufts. Okay. Yeah. See, there is that too, because, like, the new Skaven clan rats, they are meant to be on 25mm bases, so they are taking up a decent amount of that space. Oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to dry brush or anything for several hours after this, am I? A dry brush would just mix. Yeah, it's still too damp. Right, right. Movement trays would probably be a great idea for me too. 40 clan rats takes a little bit to move them around. Prog rock. Which one would be? I don't know. Oh, why does it have to be so hard to log into my own email? Okay. There we go. See, I don't know enough prog rock to really make that decision. Well, I guess, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I couldn't even guess. That's not good. I don't like the idea of just sitting here. I'm gonna try to dry brush one of these. Oh, it actually softened the base. The wash actually softened the base. That's kind of interesting. Anyway, let's try this. Oh, that's not horrible. I don't know. Okay, well, it's not mixing. That's good. And I'm just going with the really light dry brush. I don't want to lose the dark colors, but I do want it to be kind of a blend. Yeah, I don't really want to make it wet. I mean, I'm going to be breaking it into small enough pieces that it shouldn't even matter. But kind of just letting some of the paint get places, and I'm leaving some darker than others. I don't want them to be super same, right? There would be a level of variety, variance. And I can do a second highlight with a brighter color. I just don't want to go overboard. Like, that's too much right there. But maybe it isn't if I do the other highlight. I will say that I'm getting messy Okay. I'm just doing these because... Oh. Sand everywhere. No. I'm just doing these because I made them. I don't need them, but having a few extra pieces of terrain can't hurt, right? Okay. Alright. I'm sure these brushes are gonna hate me later for washing them out, right? Yeah, you should. I'm actually going to mix a tiny bit of the light mocha into the flamenco red to make it a little bit brighter. Okay. That's not as crazy. I thought you were saying, like, you poured, you know, a kilo of sand on the floor or something. This is a bad mess. Color. I should not have used my dry brush as the mixing brush. Yeah. It is so loaded up right now. Ah, well. Do I even want to use this? Yeah, it's okay. No. Yes, no, yes. Ugh. I don't think a dry brush is supposed to be solid like that. Alright. There. What do you think? Okay, yeah, that... I've done that with the sand in the base. I just, yeah. Um... I suppose I can go for that last dry brush highlight color, I guess? I don't know. I'm just gonna go with khaki. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm actually doing the khaki layer even over the red ones, just extremely light, because the last layer I put down is still a little damp, so it's turning into a more of a pinkish hue, which isn't a problem really. Um, I'm just dry brushing whatever's on the table now. It's like, yeah, just a little bit here, a little bit there. Yeah, that makes sense. If I really wanted to, I could eventually go back and do some of these stones as a different color. Not ever gonna happen. They're walls. They're not supposed to be amazing. Like, I could take some of the wash, I could do a very watered down wash and just pick out a tiny bit of each as color. I'm not that worried about it. Like, if anything, I'd rather do a second brown wash over it to deepen the recesses again. I still have that mixed. I could do that. So yeah, I think this is the basing stuff done, right? I sure did make a mess. There's good variety between each of them. Here, let me see if I can get a good close-up of this. Okay. Oh, hey, look, it's ripping. That's okay. We can use those rips later. But there's a decent variety in those stoneworks, right? And I don't think that's too bright. That is going to break at some point. But some water got underneath, so it's also softening it up there. But that's a nice variety, right? So now I don't have to paint them on the base. I can just take little pieces of this and put it in the mud. So, but yeah. And then that one. So just a variety, I have some darker areas and some brighter areas, and I'm just gonna rip little chunks and stick it. Like, I'm actually gonna use the texture paste as the glue. I'm gonna smear it on the base, put something down on this, and then stick the hex base right into it. That's how I'm planning on doing it. So, so I'm gonna ask, since it's all wet and I need to clean the desk, everyone okay with a 2-hour stream today? Because I have to go clean up 4 paintbrushes in the sink to give them a good wash, and this stuff's all going to take a while to dry. Or do you want me to take a quick hiatus, do that, and come back? I don't really have anything else planned tonight, but I do need to wash my tools before they go bad. I mean, it is day 22 of streams, so... But yeah, it was a really good... I mean, look at how much I got painted, right? It might have only been 2 hours, but... I mean, I will be back tomorrow to do more. What do you think about the prosecutors tomorrow? Winged Stormcast? Yeah? Yeah. I just don't want my tools to get, destroyed. They're a whole, maybe $2 to buy a new one. But yeah, this is as far as I needed to get. Um, okay. So tomorrow is going to be the prosecutors. Yeah. And now all of the bases are, well, all of the toppers for the bases are ready to go once they're dry. So, yeah, had a really good game today. Glad I was able to share it with you. I'm glad I got the pictures to work on the computer. And then, yeah, until tomorrow, I hope everyone has a good night. And I hope you find your bit of bliss. See you tomorrow.